Hello everybody. In this video we will be taking a look at the 2024 presidential election as of September the 1st, 2024. So as we've seen in polling, Harris was able to lead several of the polls in many of the crucial states, but also these polls are going back and forth from Trump leading it to Harris winning it. They're just kind of all over the place. So we'll take a look at how this map will be as of September the 1st, 2024. So we're going to start off by filling out the safe states. Harris is going to win the West Coast, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Maine's 1st Congressional District, along with the state of Colorado. These will all be 10 points or more for Kamala Harris. And now we'll be filling out the safe Republican states. These states will be Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Alaska, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska at large, along with the 1st and 3rd Congressional District, both North and South Dakota, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Connecticut, West Virginia, Indiana, South Carolina, and then Florida, Iowa, and Ohio will also be in the safe Republican column. Now we'll go to the likely Democrat states. We'll start off with the state of New Mexico. In the state of New Mexico, Clinton was able to win it in 2016 by about 9 percentage points, and then in 2020, Biden was able to carry it by almost 11 percentage points. But Trump will be able to make some slight gains with the Hispanics in the state of New Mexico. Not as much as if in Texas or Florida, but it'll be enough to bring it down under 10 percentage points. So Harris will win the state of New Mexico by about 9 percentage points in this election. And next we'll go to the state of New Hampshire. This is one where 2016 it actually was so close to flipping towards Donald Trump, but in 2020 the state shifted towards the left and Biden was able to win it by a likely margin, about 7 points. I expect this margin to hold pretty similarly, so Harris will be able to win New Hampshire by a likely margin by 6 to 7 points is how I'm seeing Harris winning this state as of now. And then Maine's 2nd district, that's just safe red. It's a rural district. Trump does well in rural areas. In 2016, he won it by a safe margin. 2020, he almost won it by a safe margin. This cycle, he'd be able to get it over 10 points. And now we're going to the likely Republican state. This is the state of Texas. This is one that's been reliably Republican the past 20 years. And in 2016, Clinton was able to narrow Trump's margin to about 9 percentage points. In 2020, Trump only won the state by about 5.5 percentage points against Joe Biden. But we saw the Rio Grande Valley area, those Hispanics trended towards the right in 2020, while like the urban areas like Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, those areas trended towards the left, had high suburban turnout for Democrats. This cycle won't be as high, so therefore the Hispanics will be able to help the state trend towards the right. It's honestly pretty close to being a safe margin, but as of now, I still think Trump will be able to win it by about 9 percentage points. This will still be under 10 percentage points as of now, so we'll just have to keep looking at the data and see if anything changes, but for now I'm keeping Texas a likely Republican state. Now we'll go to the lean state. We'll start off with Maine at large. This state is lean Democratic. In 2016 it got relatively close, but in 2020 it went about 9 points for Joe Biden. And this time around we're going to see Maine's 2nd district shift enough towards the right with the 1st district remaining stagnant, so therefore this helps shift the state towards Donald Trump to make it a little bit more competitive, but still Harris will be able to win this state by about 3 to 4 percentage points, probably close to 5, but about 4 percentage points this cycle. And then we'll go to State of Minnesota, this one's also lean Democratic. This is one in 2016. Trump was able to make the margin slightly narrower, but Clinton was able to win it by about 1.5 percentage points. It was relatively close, but not as close as New Hampshire. When 2020, the Minneapolis area had really high turnout for Joe Biden. This cycle, we're not going to see that same high level turnout, but it won't be super low turnout. With Walz as the VP, it should help boost the state very narrowly, but not a whole lot. So Harris will be able to win Minnesota as of now by 4 points. It'll be closer to a likely blue than I had it on my last prediction, but still lean blue as of now, because Trump will be able to gain in the rural areas in that state. Next, we'll go to Nebraska's 2nd district. This is lean Democratic. It's been a relatively red district for history for a while, but 2020, Biden was able to flip it. When the last time it went blue was with Obama in 2008, and in 2012 it flipped relatively Republican. But 2020, Biden was able to carry this district by about 7 points. But they redrew it slightly to favor Republicans, but not much. But since the suburban turnout won't be as high this year for Democrats, it'll be down to a lean margin of 3 percentage points for Harris. And now we'll go to the state of Virginia. This state is actually slightly closer than what people would think. It's not a likely or a safe Democratic. We've seen, because in 2020, Biden was able to win the state right at 10 percentage points. But other than that, we saw in 2021, 2022, the state was closer, where Youngkin was able to win the governorship, and then you add up the percentages of the House elections, it was much closer than it was in 2020. So we've seen this state shift towards the right. It's just the DC suburbs up in Northern Virginia. This area will be able to have enough turnout to keep this state blue. So therefore, Harris will win it by about 3 percentage points. And if we take a look at polling here, some very accurate pollsters having Harris up by 3 percentage points in this state. It was very accurate in 2020, and I expect the margin to be about 3 percentage points in 2024. So lean blue for Virginia. And now we'll go to the state of North Carolina. This one's actually becoming one where people are seeing it become a very close state. This is one many people are rating it toss up now on the presidential level. And if you look at polling, it appears to be that way because Trump is barely leading some polls. Many of them are tied. Harris even led a couple of polls, so therefore the state looks really close according to polling. But in 2020, this state, according to polling, Biden was leading most of the polls actually in this state, and then many people thought it would flip blue in 2020, but Trump was still able to carry the state by over 1 percentage point. In this cycle, I expect Trump to win the state by 3 percentage points about. As in 2022, we saw especially eastern North Carolina, that area trending towards the right slightly, while the urban areas remained stagnant. Even the Charlotte area trended slightly towards the right, while like the Asheville area, that trended towards the left. I expect those trends to hold this year, and then Trump wins North Carolina by about 3 points. And now we're at the 6 toss-up states where they'll be the closest. These will be either tilt Republican or tilt Democrat. So to start this off, we'll start off with the state of Georgia. This is one where many Democrats are very hopeful of Harris winning this state, because Biden was able to narrowly carry the state in 2020 with having a very high black turnout in the Atlanta area. So it made the state barely a blue state in 2020. But in 2022, we saw the state of Georgia. Republicans did decently in all the elections except the Senate election. That was because they nominated a very unfavorable candidate to where Raphael Warnock was more popular than Herschel Walker, so Warnock was able to win there, while like Brian Kemp won by about 7 points on the same ballot. So it shows the state is still more of a leaning Republican state. But Harris will be able to get a decent amount of black turnout, but Trump will be able to make enough gains in the rural areas to where Trump will narrowly carry the state by about 1.5 percentage points. So almost a lean red margin, but it's still tilt red as of now. We'll have to continue to take a look at that state to see if it gets any closer or less close. But as of now, Trump is still carrying the state by about 1.5 percentage points. And next we'll go to the state of Nevada. This is one where Clinton and Biden held a very similar margin in the state, about 2 percentage points. The lean blue. In 2022, we saw the state trend towards the right slightly, especially in Clark County, that area where the population is the largest in the state. There's enough Hispanics there to make the county trend slightly towards the right. And in 2022, the Senate race was only zero point 0.8 of a percentage point for the Democrat, and then Joe Lombardo was able to win the governorship there in 2022 narrowly as well. So this day has become a lot closer, and polling shows Harris up in a lot of the polls. Trump is leading some of them, so the polls here are all over the place. But just going based off demography, and we see enough gains in Clark County area, this will be able to give Trump a narrow victory in the state by about 1 percentage point. Could even be slightly less, but it'll be close. But I still think Trump will be able to get a victory in this state, and that no taxes on tips policy helps him out here. So now we're going to the state of Arizona. This is one where it has been reliably Republican, but has trended towards the left, and Biden was able to narrowly flip it in 2020. But in 2022, many people thought Republicans would do well there, but Mark Kelly was able to win that seat by almost 5 percentage points, and then Carrie Lake, who was leading all the polls pretty much, lost her governor's seat there to Katie Hobbs, which was not a very favorable candidate, but Hobbs was still able to win there. So it shows that the state has trended towards the left, especially because of the growth of Maricopa County. But I still think this will be a tilt Democratic state as of now. Harris will be able to hold on to the state, but it'll be pretty close. But I would say not as close as 2020, but still under a percentage point as of now. And now here we go. We're now down to the Rust Belt states. These will be the main deciding factor of the election. I expect Pennsylvania to be the tipping point state. I believe we all think that's the tipping point state because it's got 19 electoral votes. It's got the most. So basically, whoever wins Pennsylvania will likely win the presidency. So we'll look at that state last since it'll likely be closest one, but we'll take a look at it. But we'll start off with Wisconsin. This is a state 2016 Trump was able to narrowly flip, and then in 2020 it went back to Biden, so back for the Democrats. All three of these Rust Belt states that occurred too, but 2016 and 2020, Wisconsin was the reddest out of the three. It's also the most rural out of the three, so Trump will be able to gain in the rural areas here, and in the wild counties he'll be able to improve from 2020 because he didn't do as well. So we'll be able to see him improve there slightly from 2020, and then Dane County won't have such high turnout there. It'll still be decently high for Democrats, but not as high as 2020. So if we also look at the polling here, just giving an idea, Harris is leading most of the polls, but 2020 Biden led just about every poll, and there were large margins. That's what we see here. So polling in this state, well, in general, but in this state especially, is not the best to look at. So we look at demography here and trends, and we'll see Trump narrowly squeak out a victory in Wisconsin. be able to win by zero point 0.4 or zero point 0.5 percentage point. It'll be really narrow. But Trump does well in rural areas. He'll be able to make those gains. And now to the state of Michigan. This one's not as rural, but it's got some rural areas. It also has more urban areas. And this is more progressive than the other two Rust Belt states, where in 2022, Gretchen Whitmer was able to win by double digits on the governor's level, which improved her margin from 2018. So it shows how much they like that governor there. We see Detroit, that area is trending slightly towards the right though, while some other urban areas like Lansing, those areas are trending towards the left. So seeing kind of trends going both ways in this state. In 2016, Trump was narrowly able to flip it. When 2020, Biden flipped it by a lean margin, so it wasn't the closest. It was the least close out of the three Rust Belt. So I think because of Harris being more progressive than Joe Biden, and then Walsh being a progressive candidate, and he's from the Rust Belt, this will help Michigan go towards Harris in 2024. It will be narrower than it was in 2020, only winning it by under a percentage point by about zero point 0.8 or zero point 0.7. That's how I expect Harris to win this state as of now. And now we're coming down to the last state, the state of Pennsylvania. This is determining the election right here because Trump is at 267 right now. Harris is at 252. So in order to get 270, one of these candidates have to win Pennsylvania. So we're going to look at this state. 2016 was right in the middle between Wisconsin and Michigan, along with 2020 in terms of how red or blue it was. And then we saw Philadelphia, that county trended towards the right in 2020, while the suburbs trended to the left. And in 2024, we're not going to see that hard shift towards the left in the Philadelphia area. And then the Scranton area also will trend towards the right because it trended towards the right until 2020 because that's where Biden was from, which helped him improve there. While this year, with Trump and Harris on the ticket, that area will trend towards the right along with the Philadelphia County and the suburbs of Philadelphia. So looking at polling, this according to polls, Trump is doing the best here. Harris leading several of them, but Trump is also leading the most recent ones and many of these. So we'll see here. This really close state, but because of the suburbs not trending so much to the left and Trump making gains in these rural areas, this will cause Trump to be able to win this state very narrowly. Therefore, he's able to win the presidency with 286 electoral votes to Harris having 252 electoral votes. So nothing has really changed from my last prediction. Still have the same amount of electoral votes going to Trump, just very minor point changes like in Minnesota, for example, and then Virginia and then New Mexico, but the margins are all the same and the electoral vote count is the same. But we'll have to see the next couple months because we only have 2 more months left. We have October and then November. Those will be my last 2 times making this prediction. We'll see if this holds or if Harris makes some gains or if Trump is able to make some gains. But as of now, this is how I see the election going in 2024 as of today. And thank y'all for watching. Be sure to comment down below, like and subscribe, and let me know what you agree or disagree on. And bye.